Hello everyone. Hello, welcome back. Welcome back to your friendly neighborhood noob. Of course, I'm friendly. Hi. Welcome back to another video here. We are here to talk about Plunderstorm. I know this is probably a little bit different from most of my content. I don't usually talk about specific game modes. I usually just play through them. But Plunderstorm is a bit of a different chaotic thing. It's very much, I was very confused at what it was when I first saw it be released, but I thought we'd sit down, have a little chat about it. I've obviously played all the way to the renown level 40, so I've played a ridiculous amount of matches, and I believe I have an idea about what the game is, what they had in mind when they were doing this. And I want to talk a little bit about my experience with it. Of course, this is all subjective. It is just my opinion. You will have probably a different opinion, maybe a nicer opinion, maybe not so much. But either way, let's jump into it. Let's go. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, share with all your friends. It really helps me out in the algorithm and all that stuff. You know, all the stuff that YouTubers say. But let's push that to the side and get into the stories. But let's push that aside and get right into it. Let's go. So, what is Plunderstorm? It's a battle royale. It's a battle royale, however, I don't think it focuses on PvP as much as things like Fortnite and PUBG and Spellbreaker. I believe Hi-Res Studios did something called Paladins. We also Apex Legends. All of those kinds of games. For a while, we were getting a lot of battle royales because that was what was popular. And I get it. I've played all of those before. And my opinion may vary between each game because I believe certain games are better than others, obviously. However, this was more focused on a PvE aspect. What you had to do was you jump into the world, whether it be solo, duo, or trio, and you'd collect loot. Now, the amount of loot you collected actually would go into the like a kind of like a battle pass type thing. It's a renown system. If you've played World of Warcraft, you know the renown system. And at the end of the day, that was really the goal. Like, I'm going to be honest, the goal was never to win. You got nothing from winning, which we will talk about later, but you'd get nothing from winning. It was about collecting loot and then leaving. A lot of the time, I would collect loot, and then I would just run into the storm. Again, we'll talk about that soon. However, I was interested in this because it was a new game mode that World of Warcraft was trying out. They're trying new things. We always like to encourage gaming companies to try new things, whether it works or not. I know some people will be like, they could have spent more time doing such and such, but at the end of the day, they tried something new. Did it work? Let's talk about it. The first thing I want to discuss is the main aspect. Loot, treasure, booty, whatever you want to call it. It is based around pirates, so I guess booty really should have been better. But that is the main goal, is collecting as much treasure as you can. I personally found myself going from, you know, collecting 200 to 800, sometimes 1,000. That did make it a lot easier to get to the goal. According to people, when we were looking at how much you'd need to unlock every prize, it was 100,000. I got 69,000, I think, because I got it where there was a double reputation thing. I'm not entirely sure how that worked. But I only needed 69,000 to get all of the items. Now, the items are part of a renown track. A renown track is kind of like a battle pass. If you've seen a battle pass before, they're very popular at the moment, so I bet you have. You earn rewards by slowly collecting either a currency or doing quests towards to collect currency, and then you spend them on the items. It just really depends on what battle pass you get. But in this case, the more loot you earned, I think it was 2,500 every time. Every time you'd earn that much, you'd suddenly get a level up and you'd earn the item. The items were all based around pirate themes, from mounts that you could use in game, to toys, to armor sets, to weapon skins. By the way, the armor sets were just skins. So no, it wasn't anything game breaking. It literally just felt like a fun little thing, a mini game almost. So you jump into the world and you'd find a spot wherever you could, and just collect treasure. A lot of the time, personally, I found that many people didn't attack each other at the start. There were a few times where they did, but I found that a lot of people would avoid each other and just try to get as much treasure as they can. It was about halfway through the game or the match that they would attack each other to get each other's booty. I didn't have as much issue with collecting treasure. I found quite a lot of it. It only took me like, I think 40 to 50 games to get it all done. I was told it was going to take 200. I freaked the F out. So I was not exactly thrilled with that. I don't think anyone would be thrilled with being told they have to play a certain amount of matches being over 100. I was able to whack it out within 2 days. The amount of treasure I got was good. Do I think it was a good idea to do a PvP, PVE thing? Sure, I've seen it many times before. Not often in Battle Royales. I mean, they did bring that aspect of Fortnite. I think about like the bosses and stuff. But you weren't earning a currency to bring back to the Fortnite store. So I guess that's not the same thing. And like, I'm trying to think of a game that actually is even close to what they were trying to do in Plunderstorm. I honestly can't. And I've played a lot of Battle Royales. It's not even my genre. I don't even particularly like Battle Royales. I feel like that was one of the issues too. They were like trying to lean into the PvE to get people to play it. But the people who play PvE don't like the PvP aspect, and the people who play PvP don't like the PvE aspect. Really could have done it in like 2 different modes. One mode being more PvE centric, like making it so that no one would be attacked until a certain point. Or PvP mode where it was just full on PvP. Treasure was just for the items, and then when you'd win or your placement would, I don't know, give you a times. So if you got second, you get 2 times, and first you get 3 times. Third, you get I don't know, 0.5 times more, 50% more. So that would have been cool. That would have been cool. That would have been some aspect of why you should win, but they didn't really add that in. So yeah, loot for me was the main reason to play this game. The main reason to play this mode. The main reason to even jump in and play 50 to 100 matches. I got all the items. I was really happy with them. I looked through them in the main game. I love the new mount. It's the poly mount. It's very cute and all the sets are very adorable. But I did feel at the end an aspect of like, I just did this for the sake of doing it. I didn't do this to have fun. As I said before, it wasn't about winning. And that's one of the things I had an issue with. What was the goal? What was the goal of this? The actual idea of this? And that really brings me into the PvP aspect. What was the point of PvP? This was supposed to be bringing in some new PvP stuff because for a while, the PvP community had a drought of content. The poor PvPers, I will say. World of Warcraft just completely neglected them, and I felt really bad for them because as a person who's not PvP, I got all this content for PvE, and I was like, I was eating happy, but they hadn't. And I was like, this is unfair. And I'm not even rooting for myself, I'm rooting for the PvP community. This is unfair that they don't get this cool new stuff that we keep getting. So when I saw Plunderstorm, I'm like, oh, finally, they get something. And then I realized, I mean, they do, but 80% of the players in the matches aren't doing it for PvP. So for me, I think it failed. It really failed as a PvP game mode. That's why I said it should either have chosen to be a full PvP or a full PvE with a final moments of PvP just for like the, okay, we're finished, now let's kill each other, yay! You know, like that little last hurrah moment. Because we've got all the treasure we can possibly get, so now let's just murder all of each other. It would have also avoided a lot of trolling at the start, like people killing each other right off the rip. I felt like that was a bit of a dickhead move when someone would just, you had no treasure on you at that point. There was no point in actually killing you. You would get more treasure later on when the person's collected it. I would let them go collect all the treasure, then kill them. But no, the players felt the need to kill people pretty much off the bat. And it was just for trolling reasons. There was no strategy to it. But hey, it gave the PvPers something. And that's why I was like, as much as I hated it, and I hate when people do that, kill you right off the bat, it's like, yeah, but that's Battle Royales. Fortnite does that. Like, you could land in the same area and you're gonna have to fight to the death straight away and you'd be the first out. But like, that's how Fortnite works. And this is PvPers. That's how they play. That has how their mind works. Why us getting angry that really, you know, it's like, well, it's the game. It's PvP. Eventually you'd have to kill each other. But I realized we were so angry because the main goal is to get loot. It's not to kill each other. So as a PvP mode, it failed. It really did. As a PvE, it was fun. I found it enjoyable. I found it really interesting. I ran around like a crazy person collecting loot. I did lots of battle-y stuff. I liked exploring. The map was great because it was based on an area I actually liked, the Arathi Highlands, and because it gave me the feeling of the war zones that we used to do. Particularly, I like the war zones more than I liked this, so the BFA war zones. And I feel like looking back on BFA's war zones, I look a little bit more favorably to BFA because of that. But yeah, to see it be reused was really nice. To see how they utilized the space and how they created all these like little sections with monsters and such was really great too. They didn't make it too hard. It was very balanced. Like killing an elite didn't take multiple people, which was my fear. Bosses, the same thing. You just had to be strategic and smart. You can just run in and keep attacking. You'd have to dodge or move out of the way. So yeah, when it came to the actual PvP, I kind of liked it in the sense of like having all these cool spells as well that you just randomly pick up. I mean, there was definitely the luck aspect of you could end up with some of the bad spells, and yes, there were some bad spells. Not all of them were bangers. Some of them were definitely better than others, which I know from experiencing in many games. Some weapons are going to be better than others, so it wasn't like I was upset with that, because that's an aspect of many battle royales. It's the luck of the draw. Sometimes you're just unlucky, sometimes you're a player that can push through that luck, and sometimes you're not. But yeah, overall, the PvP aspect was a failure. The PvPe aspect kind of was the dominant force, but wasn't fully realized, I would say. I think like, for me, they put so much effort into these things like the Arcane Ball, which I don't think that's what it's actually called, but the Arcane Ball was probably one of my favorites and the one I saw a lot of. There was this elemental power that started off with electricity, then rock, and then fire. So it was like a 3-in-1 kind of deal. I thought it was really cool too. It's the 3 abilities did less damage than just one normal ability, which I think was smart. They balanced it nicely. There were definitely some things that were stronger than others, but I felt like over time they slowly pushed those kinks out. So I'm upset because, and I won't say I'm like upset, but I'm upset because the combat was interesting. The idea of these spells were interesting, and it just felt like they were wasted on something that wasn't fully a PvP like thing. I can't even say it was like true to being a battle royale either. But yeah, there was definitely some things that were lacking, but I feel like we should go into pros and cons. And I feel like let's stop skirting around what it is and get into the pros and the cons. I'm going to start off with the cons because I believe that you should always start in the negative and end well so that you have like a nice positive ending. I like to have positive spins on my content, so this is going to be difficult for me. I think we can easily say the biggest con was it's a PvP game mode that failed at PvP. There were PvP aspects that would like you could kill each other. I mean, if that's the basics of PvP, then sure. But I believe there should be a competitive, like a push, a drive to why you should win. There should be a reward at the end. I feel like that was really lacking. It felt like participation trophy almost. And when people always talk about especially Americans, about the left and their participation trophies. I actually agree on that. I'm Australian. I agree that not everyone should get a prize. You should be rewarded for doing a good job. First place should have been rewarded with something. I even enjoy the first, second, third type thing. Personally, because then I feel like it sucks when you're second because you got so close and you did so well, and sometimes you get third partied when you're third. You like, there are 3 of you, 2 are fighting, and then you get third partied and you become third. You're like, are you serious? So first, second, third, I always think they should get a prize. I mean, there is a reason why it's gold, silver, and bronze. But yeah, that was a very poor aspect to the game, was the PvP aspect. Another thing I actually think it was lacking, and this is something that some people may disagree with me on, is this is World of Warcraft. Why was there no lore? I didn't find any story to this. Am I missing something? Comment down below. Am I missing lore to this? Where did it tie into? What was the reason? Like seriously, what was the reason to this game mode? Was I missing out on something? Did I miss a storyline or a cinematic in-game? Am I lost here? Like, can anyone actually explain it to me? I'm not a big lore person when it comes to World of Warcraft, but I'm a big story person. And you might think, what's the difference between story and lore? Story is the storyline. Lore comes out of it. I mean, what Anduin does when he's away for so long, you can tell you the story, but then you have to extract the lore from it. So I just felt like there was no story, there was no lore, it was just jump in, have fun, good luck. It's pirate themed, and I thought they'd tie that pirate theme more into what's happening in the real game, but I've seen nothing. There was no books, there was no notices. I thought we might see some NPCs running around, freaking out or something, or maybe some of the NPCs that we kill saying something, but no, none of that. No story, no lore. I just felt like they were missing out because this is supposed to be, you know, something slightly related to the main game. I mean, it was put in a different mode completely, which honestly, that's the next con. It was a separate game mode. It was not connected to our account. I couldn't relate it to my like my normal World of Warcraft day-to-day play because it wasn't. It wasn't connected to the normal game. It was just a separate game mode that was so separate that you had to create a new character that you could just easily change. There was no connection to this character. You didn't give him a specific name or anything like. Oh, actually, I think you did give him a specific name. So take that back. You did give him a specific name, but it's like, but the character can change. So I didn't personally connect with this character. I've had this character for ages. It would have really been great if you could have taken characters from your account if you're going to do separates, and then copy them over so that you could play them. And the other thing is, we only got to dress up as pirates. I understand it's a pirate theme, but I would have loved to be able to dress up in my normal gear and just go in there and do the damn thing, or have more outfits than just the pirate outfits. I mean, I like pirate movies. I've played in a pirate server in Minecraft. I mean, pirates are great, but I don't want to just be a pirate. I'm not that obsessed with pirates. I've watched the Pirates of the Caribbean, but that's not enough for me. So yeah, that was definitely I just felt no connection to my character, no connection as a player. I wasn't immersed into anything. It just felt a bit off. I mean, there are a lot of little things as well I could point out. There wasn't many places to hide. A lot of the spells felt useless, and you'd be really unlucky if you found certain spells, and it was just like, oh great, well, I'm gonna lose this. I actually knew by what spells I got if I was going to get far in the game or not. But yeah, and also the aspect of, and this is something I want to talk about a little bit more in depth, is that when I had got so much loot, we got to a point in the game where there is practically no loot left, and all the monsters are starting to get killed off now because there's very minute amount of NPCs left now, so we're just killing off those. Once they're all dead, that's it. You kind of have to kill each other to get more loot. But at that point, I don't want to put the effort in to find another player, kill the player, or maybe get killed, and give loot. Often I would go up to other players and ask them if they would want to kill me. Some people would be like, oh my god, I love you. And some people would be like, oh, thank you. Some people would be really appreciative. And if you weren't, I would just run into the storm. If you actually came running at me to kill me, I'd probably just run into the storm because I have no drive and no interest in the fight. There was no results. There was no, added bonus for me doing that. So I just ran into the storm. And there was many a time where I would run into the storm and just die. That's it. The loot was wasted. My spells were wasted. You were screwed over. Because it was more of I had no reason to. They didn't give me a reason to. I would have loved if you could, I tried to do as much as I could of giving people my loot. I would be like, hey, do you want to kill me? Because I'm out. I'm done. I'm done with this round. I don't want to win. There's no point. What's the point in winning? So yeah, it definitely was an aspect of just, I'm out. I'm clocking out now. Bye. It was so dumb. I also felt like the storm wasn't much of a threat until like really far in, like halfway through the match. It was maybe a tiny bit of a threat, but close to the end it was more of a threat. I don't know. I wish it was faster. I wish it took up more space, and it would move around the map. Maybe, I don't know. It would have been cool. Also, at a point, you know, turn into a cyclone and just like everyone's getting hurt. But yeah, that was definitely something that just I didn't really add much. Didn't really add much at all. And my final point that I want to point out that I'm only pointing out things that I was just like, I don't like that. If it was neutral, there was a lot of neutral stuff. There was a lot of stuff I was like, yeah, it's okay, I guess. This, like the random placement of chests, it was okay, I guess. The random spattering of rares, it was okay, I guess. It was, yeah. The only other thing I want to point out is the giant gold creature that kept popping up. Like it would pop up at a certain point in the match. Why? I get it. It dropped loot. It dropped plunder. It dropped spells. But why? When we're doing solo play, there'd be 4 of us all around it trying to kill it while also dodging everyone else's attacks. Sometimes no one would want to kill each other at that point, so they were just trying to get as much loot. Sometimes there'd be one person trying to clean up the other 3. I'm just like, dude, we're trying to kill the thing. But it was very much of like, what's the point of this? You could have just given us a giant gold chest in the middle of the match. That was it. Why do we have to chase the thing around? And the 4 of us on separate teams all try to kill it. It was a mess. It was messy. It was messy. Okay. Well, that's all the cons I want to talk about, because as I said, there were a lot of neutral things. Just to list some off, as I said, the random spattering of rares, the random spattering of chests, the how you could control the bird at the start was a little funky. How much renown it took to get each level, the amount of levels. I mean, there were a whole bunch of things that were just a little bit off, but it was okay. Like, I didn't really think more than, oh, that's annoying. Or, oh, okay. That was it. So let's move on to the positives. I'm going to be honest, my list for positives is a lot shorter, and that doesn't make it that I didn't like it. I did enjoy my time. I felt like the reason I enjoyed my time is because I'm a PvE boy. I'm not a PvP boy. So the PvP boys and girls were just not going to enjoy this at all. No, I'm kidding. You might have still enjoyed it. You might have enjoyed it just for the troll aspect. But the fact was, what I enjoyed was the current visual, up-to-date, fresh look that Arathi Islands had. I loved the character models. I loved the look of it. It was clean. It was crisp. It was updated. Looked great. It looked great. I loved moving around the map. I felt like the map was just the right size so that you would see people, but you could stay out of each other's way, especially in solo. So I really like the size of the map, and it's really hard with battle royales to have a good size of map, I would say. Often you can get stuck behind the storm a few times. There were definitely like a lot of nooks and crannies as well, little secret areas that I don't fully think I explored the map. I tried to drop in as many areas as possible, but I still don't think I actually got to every area. So it was really nice to have a giant map that felt like I hadn't explored everything, but also not too big that you couldn't do that. And yeah, it was nice seeing all the new character models for things, and that was really cool. I liked the announcements. I liked feeling like the little quests that gave you extra loot was also fun. Like, I would rush off to try to do that first. Like, the ones that was like, collect 3 spells, which was one of the harder ones for me. Right off the bat, you're like, okay, I have to collect 3 spells. So you'd go off and do that to get the extra bonus of 250 loot. And then you'd continue on. After that, usually I had gotten at least 400 loot once I finished that quest. After that point, I was okay with dying. I didn't care. I feel like I had a goal. I met the goal every time, and I was like, cool. So that was always my goal. I liked having that goal. I liked I had like a quest there, a world quest. That was really fun. And just it's nice to go into something and say, okay, this is my goal. I can do this. It's a possible goal for every single round. They make it possible. And just the announcements of the storm is coming in and are ye me scurvy dogs. I wanted more of them. I wanted more of them going, hey, did you see that over there? Or something, just something random every so often. I would also say have an aspect to turn it off. so that players who didn't like it would be all like, no thank you. And yeah, I definitely think that could have been better done, but you know, but it was so fun to just have like they were trying with that, immerse you a little bit. I will say I liked the hub where you started. I think it could have been a little bit smoother on the NPC dialogue stuff so that you could easily access certain things. It was all kind of just click on this and it would have a speech bubble, and I had to read through each speech bubble to try to figure out where to find my renown. But it had like areas where you could practice things. I almost wish that it'd give you more time there, like 2 minutes. Like you could load in and it gives you 2 minutes. As soon as you click the play button, it pushes you to a lobby, and then it just starts filling up the lobby. That way you have more time to look at stuff. It taught you everything you needed to know. You could just go off and start practicing. It was really nice. I actually really liked the hub. I thought it was really cool. And they put detail in it. I liked the look of it. And as I said, I'm not the hugest pirate fan, so I was like, this is nice. This is nice. And I will finish it off by just saying the loot. I'm a loot goblin. I'm a little loot gremlin, loot goblin. I love collecting loot, so this was definitely up my alley. I loved going around and collecting things and feeling like, yay, I got stuff. And when I had like 1,000, I was like, oh my god, I'm so amazing. It was that gratification of just collecting stuff and being the very best at collecting stuff. So yeah, that aspect to me, it was so fun, but unfortunately it did become the main aspect. And I felt bad for the PvPers. But yeah, I enjoyed doing it. It's the one reason I didn't mind repeating the same thing over and over again. I did feel like the matches were different because of that, because I'd land in different areas, there'd be different amounts of loot, there would be different players nearby, there might not be players nearby, but yeah, it was really nice. It was really nice. At the end of the day, I think that was my favorite part, and it was the main part. So that's why I would say for a PvE, just a little fun game mode for every now and then. I mean, it was great. And we have Pandemonium coming up, which is another weird game mode. And I think we should also point out the biggest con to this entire thing is World of Warcraft is trying something new. They're trying something else. They're not being stuck to their old ways. They're not being like, hey, well, we're just going to do what we're comfortable with. I know you want something new, but we're not going to do that. So a lot of people complaining about, oh, this is so different. Yeah, and that's good. Let's encourage difference. Let's not encourage them to do something that's a completely different game, like as in not World of Warcraft. I like Diablo 4, but I would rather they focus on World of Warcraft. But yeah, I think that like, I'm happy that they tried something new, even if it wasn't super successful. If it was just okay, I would say it was neutral. It was neutral. I would say like it's in the 60%. If you put it on Steam, it would get a 62, 63% positive, because it was fine. It was fine. It was okay. It was a 6 out of 10. It was fine. There were some really annoying aspects, but it was fine. I enjoyed it. I played it until I hit level 40, and I will never touch it again. It's just be honest. But I got like 5, 6, 7, 8 hours out of it, so like you can't complain too much. That's like how much time you spend in some of the older games. So I think Fable I spent like 12 to 15 hours. So there you go, you know? So at the end of the day, it was fine. It was fine. Anyway, let's go into the wrap up. Well, guys, we have come to the end. That's right. You've just listened to me blab on about Plunderstorm while watching me play in the background. Honestly, as I said, this is a fine game mode, and I encourage them to continue trying new things, keep putting out weird game modes. I played a little bit of Pandemonium, and I'm really excited for it. I'm pretty average on Mr. Pandera. I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but I wasn't against it. It's like my mid tier. A lot of people say, oh, it's my favorite. Legion was my favorite. I'm not gonna lie. Wrath of the Lich King was next, and Burning Crusade after that. And Burning Crusade is because that's when I really got into the game. I don't mean like I started. I really got into it. Then Mr. Pandera. It's my 4th place. It will always be my 4th place. Dragonflight may be moving it down soon, though. I've been really enjoying Dragonflight. I just haven't played it enough. I will say I just haven't played it enough. So and plus they have such good tiers. Tier sets. I love some of their tier sets. And same with Mr. Pandera. So many good tier sets. So yeah, I'm really excited about that, and I'm happy that they're trying new things. Let's encourage new things from Blizzard. Let's not shit on them every aspect we can get. Let's not encourage YouTubers to shit on World of Warcraft because the company sucks. let's not do that. There are plenty terrible game companies out there. Let's just focus on what they bring out and call them out when we need to, you know. Let's be a bit more liberal without calling out, maybe. I don't know. At the end of the day, there are definitely lots of pros, lots of cons, and this was definitely a cool thing to come out and just play through and experience. I know it sounds weird to say it. I kind of feel bad for people who didn't even get to play this, just to experience it. It was interesting. It was fun. And as much as I don't think it was perfect, it was fine. It was fine. Anyway, guys, I want to say thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being part of your friendly neighborhood community. Please tell me one of your best stories from Plunderstorm. Tell me how you felt about it. Try not to be too negative in the comments. I don't want no abuse or threats or anything like that, guys. Come on. I've seen them in other people's comments, and I'm just like, come on. I understand this is not the best direction for World of Warcraft to take, but it certainly is a direction, which was something we hadn't seen in Shadowlands, and we know how bad that was. So I just liked them to, go in a direction, choose something, and we saw something that was at least half decent. So until next time, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, share with all your friends, don't forget to eat spaghetti, and I'll see you in the next video. Probably the next time I see you, if you're not watching my Seasons of Discovery, is the Pandemonium. I'm super excited for that, so I will see you then.